Hey there. In this video, we are talking importing. So our importer lets you take a spreadsheet of contacts and create those records in bulk. If you don't have a spreadsheet, you can just skip this video and you can add records through the Add button. You can find the importer under that Add button. Just click that spreadsheet option to give it a go. This tool is designed for creating new contacts and companies, but it's not designed for making bulk updates. So if you've got some updates to make, you'll want to do those directly in your CRM. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we're going to start with how to format your file for import. Then we'll go through running an actual import, which is the bulk of this video. After that, we'll just talk about some quick ways to organize your imports. And finally, if the thought of running an import makes you want to quit, don't. We offer support for imports. So our team here will help run up to 3 imports for each account. So if you'd like some help, just skip to that part of the video. All you need to import is a spreadsheet of contact or company data. So here are a few quick tips for your file. First, the file should be saved in either an Excel or CSV format, and the file should be no bigger than 5 megabytes. If you're not sure how big your file is, a good rule of thumb is about 10,000 rows or less. Also, if your contacts are in another system like LinkedIn or another contact manager, visit our importing page for resources on how to get spreadsheets from those programs. Finally, everything we'll talk about for formatting is in a handy article you can find on the import page as well, if you'd like to have a copy of what we're talking about next. So you've got your file. Now let's talk about how the contents should be formatted. Starting with the first row, this should contain your column headers. These are the types of info about each contact or company. The importer can create a single person and a single company out of each row, so you'll want a column for the person's name, and if applicable, a column for their business. Let's look at this example. We have one row that holds all of the information about Alexis. This column holds their name, this one holds their company name, here's their email, their phone number, and so on. Be sure to separate out addresses into their different pieces like street address, city, state. This just makes your data a lot cleaner. It doesn't really matter what your headers are called. They just don't have to be titled exactly how the fields are in the CRM. Column order doesn't matter either. You just want to make sure these headers are the very first row. Now is also a good time to get rid of any columns you don't want to import. If you have multiple contacts for the same company, you'll want a separate row for each person with that person's unique contact information filled out. So that's it for formatting. If your file is ready to go, feel free to move on to the next step of running an import. If you'd like some help with that part, or if you just want us to take a look at your file before you import, feel free to give us a shout. Okay, so let's run an import together. Feel free to watch or work alongside me with your own spreadsheet. If you're feeling a bit intimidated right now, don't. You can always undo and redo imports. And again, you can always ask for help from our team. Check out the part of the video at the end about that. So let's get started. Head to the Add button and select Import Contacts. We're going to start a new import today, but this import page also lets you see any previous imports that you've done. And there's lots of help information on the right. Here, you'll see a lot of different places you might currently have your data. Each of these options takes you to a help article on exporting from that particular source, but ultimately, you'll always select the spreadsheet option to start an actual import. As a quick side note, if you're a Google user, we can actually import directly from Google. So just click here, we'll walk you through that process, and feel free to close this video if that is all you needed. All right, if your spreadsheet is ready, click here to upload your file, or just drag and drop the file into this area. Next, you'll be asked if you'd like to run the import yourself or have us do it. We'll talk more about getting LACRM help with your import next, so let's click here to run it together. This next screen asks whether you have contact names, company names, or both in your file. In our spreadsheet, we have contact names and the names of their companies. I'll choose the both option. But if your file only has contact info or only company info, you'll choose accordingly. Next, the CRM asks whether my contact names are in a single column or multiple columns. On my spreadsheet, the names are split into salutation, first, middle, and last name, so I'll choose multiple. Since I chose that, I'll just confirm which fields in my spreadsheet hold those different parts of the names. Looks like this is all correct, so I'll continue. Now, I need to tell the CRM where to find the company name in my spreadsheet. The last step is mapping the remaining columns in our spreadsheet. This left section lists out the columns from my file that I've yet to map. This middle section lets me choose which record this information belongs on. Is it the contact-specific info, company-specific info, or does it belong on both records? If you don't see this column, it just means you're importing either contacts or companies only, so your import is just a bit simpler. The right section here lets me pick the matching CRM fields for each piece of data. Let's do a few together. My file has a column called street address. I'd like that mapped to both the contact and company record, and it should go in the CRM's work street address field. Same goes for the rest of the address columns. This role column is for my contacts' job titles, so I'll map it just to our new contacts. And the source column should be mapped to a custom field on my contacts, but I don't have a custom field for that yet. No worries, I can pause here, go to my custom field settings, and add that field. And then come back to my import. The industry and number of employees columns from my file, I've mapped to just the company record, since those are specific to the organization. This created on field is extraneous information from my old database that I forgot to delete from my file, so I'm choosing not to import that at all. Finally, we have this field called the background info. It's a great place for information you want to see on your records, but doesn't need its own field. You can map tons of fields to the background info, so it's a great option for old notes or other random data in your file. I'm just going to do one more glance over my mapping, and everything looks good, so I'll go ahead and finalize the import. Once you complete an import, you are taken to that imports page. You'll always be able to see this import here under previous imports. On that finished import page, you can take some bulk actions on all the records you just created. Like for example, maybe you want to add that import to a group for easy reference later. Or you could reassign those records to someone else in bulk. The contacts that I just imported are all leads, so I'm going to attach all the contacts from that import into my lead pipeline under the status prospect. Now all those records will show up in my lead report. Additionally, if your contacts don't look right or if you need to start over for any reason, this undo button lets you undo the import entirely, which deletes the records that were just created. We know data migration is really important, but it can also be kind of intimidating, which is why we're here to help. LACRM has helped thousands of companies import their data, so we are happy to give you any pointers, but we will also run the import for you with a few limitations. Each account comes with 3 import credits that anyone can use. An import credit is when we run the import for you, and that usually just means a single file. If your file is really large and has a lot of sheets to it, that may be more import credits. It just depends on your file. Also, we ask that you format your file, so be sure to check out the formatting section in this video before sending it to us. To send your file to our support team, click Add and hit Import Contacts. Then select here to upload your file. On this form, we'll ask you to confirm some information about your file and send us any details that are good to know about how you'd like things imported. Once we receive your import request, we'll take a look at your file and email you if we have any questions. We'll send you a confirmation email when it's all done. All right, if you have a spreadsheet to import, give it a shot. You can always undo the import if you need to. And if you have any questions, just let us know. We are happy to help.